Welcome back to the Explainer. Today we are cracking open the manual on something I'm super excited about, Voden. Now, if you're already operating this absolute powerhouse of a trading engine, you know it's not just some simple script you fire and forget. No way. It's a highly robust, rule-based system that really demands a solid blueprint if you want to master it. So today we're going to walk through the exact mechanics, the hidden safety envelopes, and the operational guidelines that dictate exactly how this engine thinks, acts, and, survives in the wild. Let's get right into it.
Okay, let's dive into this with Voden's core philosophy. It's simple: stability over aggressiveness, execution integrity over speed. Basically, Voden believes that risk governance will always trump signal frequency. It's literally designed to survive these grueling, long-running sessions without accumulating a bunch of chaotic, orphaned trades. It wants to execute cleanly, or honestly, not at all. If you keep this mindset front and center as we go, every single setting we discuss today is going to make perfect sense.
So here is our flight path for today. 1. Bounded autonomy. 2. The dry run paradox. 3. Candles and auto-tune. 4. Quartermaster exits. 5. Risk controls. And finally, 6. System resilience. All right, let's get moving. Section 1. Bounded autonomy and safety envelopes. So Voden operates on this principle called bounded autonomy. Now, what does that actually mean for us? Well, it means Voden is definitely not some black box AI. It doesn't use neural networks to just wildly guess market direction. Instead, it's a highly deterministic, rule-based engine. It makes automated decisions, for sure, but only strictly within the predefined safety envelopes that you, the operator, set up. It's predictable, it's measurable, and it's incredibly reliable, which means you're not going to wake up to a liquidated account just because an AI decided to go completely rogue overnight. Moving on to Section 2, the dry run paradox, comparing live versus paper trading. Now, you might be wondering about this because it's literally the most common operational question we see. Why on earth does dry run often look so much worse and actually lose more money than live mode? I mean, you'd think they'd be totally identical, right? Well, they actually aren't. And the reason why is a massive, massive advantage for you when you're in live mode. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that the core difference lies in exactly how orders are filled. In live mode, Voden uses maker limit orders. These just sit right there on the exchange order book. So if Voden signals a buy, but the market instantly rips higher, that limit order simply expires unfilled. Sure, you miss the trade, but you also completely avoid buying the local top. Live mode acts as this natural filter for bad setups because the market actually has to cooperate to fill your order. But in dry run, there's no order book. Every single signal gets an instant synthetic fill. So dry run is just blindly taking every trade, which means it accumulates a whole bunch of losing positions that live mode would have naturally completely dodged. Bottom line, treat dry run as a test of your signal integrity, absolutely not a crystal ball for your profits. All right, Section 3, Candles and Auto-Tune, looking at data and adaptation. And this brilliantly illustrates how Voden interprets market data, because you basically have two choices for your candle mode. WebSocket mode gets pre-built candles pushed directly from the exchange. It's lightning fast, it's super reactive, and it usually evaluates trades immediately right on startup. This is going to be your default. But say you're running this massive universe of 100 plus coins, or maybe the exchange's connection is just acting really flaky. That's when you switch to local mode. Local mode slowly and safely aggregates raw ticker data to build its own candles from scratch. Now, it does require a bit of a warm-up period, but it scales beautifully, and it absolutely will not buckle under network pressure. Once Voden has that candle data locked in, its brain kicks into gear. Let me introduce you to the auto-tune engine. This is essentially Voden's adaptive robotic suspension system. Every 3 hours in live mode, AutoTune basically surveys the market's weather and shifts its parameters to match whatever the current regime is. It's subtly tweaking your exponential moving average lengths, your RSI and MACD thresholds, and your trade cooldowns. It'll even nudge your per-coin maker offset pricing up or down depending on your recent winning or losing streaks. And the best part? It does all of this completely autonomously, but always safely clamped within those predefined boundaries we talked about a minute ago. Oh, and one quick note, just remember, auto-tune is entirely disabled in dry run. Now, when the market gets really choppy, which let's face it is most of the time, you actually get to tell auto-tune exactly how to behave by picking a profile. Want it to react super quickly and high volatility? Go with aggressive. That loosens the thresholds and uses fewer confirming candles. If you're a bit unsure, just stick to balanced. But if the market is just grinding sideways with a ton of noise, you'll want the conservative profile.
This one enforces strict thresholds and requires way more confirmation before it risks any capital. It really lets you dial in your exact personal risk tolerance.
Okay, on to Section 4, Quartermaster Exits and the Exit Management System. So, Voden has this dedicated crew member specifically for managing exits, and it's called the Quartermaster. Think of this as an entirely separate module whose only job, its total focus, is managing your full position exits safely. It's not looking at moving average crosses at all. Instead, it is looking strictly at taking profits, cutting stagnant dead weight, and ruthlessly enforcing your maximum hold times. Let's move to and see how this actually builds into an exact exit lifecycle. The quartermaster doesn't just glance at the price of your last buy. No, it meticulously calculates your blended cost basis. And yes, that includes all your exchange entry fees for the entire position. On every single candle close, it's checking your profits against that true baked-in cost basis. And here's a really cool feature. If you have the Respect MACD setting enabled, and it sees the market has strong upward momentum, it will literally defer your take-profit exit. It lets your winners ride until that momentum finally flattens out. Then, once the time is perfect, or if a trade has just sat there stagnant for way too long, boom, it executes the close.
Section 5, Risk Controls and System Invariance. So the crucial point is that Voden is absolutely obsessed with accounting integrity. Your realized P&L, it's not some loose guess number. It only reflects actual exchange-confirmed sell executions. Plus, any duplicate network fills are actively ignored, so they're never going to artificially inflate your dashboard numbers. But I want you to pay special attention to that last point on hard stops. Voden evaluates your protective hard stop on every single candle close, based entirely on price alone. It does not wait around for a signal. If the price breaches your floor, it aggressively steps in and executes a market sell to protect your capital right then and there.
Another absolutely brilliant risk control is the EMA min profit gate. You know how in a choppy market, moving averages can just cross back and forth super rapidly? You got a buy signal and then immediately a sell signal. That can easily lead to a death by 1,000 cuts just from exchange fees alone. Well, the minimum profit gate blocks the engine from selling on a signal unless the price has moved enough to at least cover your round-trip exchange fees. It's a lifesaver when the market is just ranging instead of actually trending. You also get total control over exactly how much Voden sells during a standard exit. In notional mode, it sells a specific dollar slice, kind of like taking a single piece of cake, which is great for staged exits, but it can leave residual dust sitting in your wallet. If you wanted to sweep up all those tiny leftover fractions for a totally clean break, you flip it to full position mode. That forces the engine to clear the entire holding in one big swing, keeping everything tidy based on those strict exchange increments.
And our final section, Section 6, System Resilience and the Watchdog Fallback Process.
So, we have to ask the critical operational question. What exactly happens when the market data just stalls, or the WebSockets drop, or the Exchange API completely stops responding? Does Voden just crash? Does it panic buy? Absolutely not. Voden has this dedicated watchdog thread that handles that kind of chaos beautifully. If it detects that candles have stopped arriving, it seamlessly drops into what's called degraded polling. It uses REST endpoints to slowly, calmly fetch data without storming the exchange. Now, if the connection stays unstable, it just flips entirely over to local mode. And if it's just one specific coin acting up, Voden will literally throw that coin into quarantine, isolating it completely to protect the rest of your session. It massively prioritizes this kind of controlled degradation over those chaotic, unstable retry storms. All right, to distill all this down into an actual actionable operator checklist before you launch, number 1, always start a new setup in dry run, just to ensure your signals are firing exactly as expected. Next, verify your coin universe and make sure you've got the right auto-tune profiles selected for the current market. If you've been holding coins for a few weeks, ensure your reconcile lookback hours are set high enough to actually see your original buy prices. Once everything is completely validated, go ahead and switch to live mode and let those maker orders do their heavy lifting. And finally, just keep an eye on your dashboard queue pressure. If you're overloading the system, simply scale back your coins or switch over to local mode. And there you have it. That is the complete Voden blueprint. As you can see, it's not some magic black box. It is a precisely engineered tool built from the ground up for stability, safety, and absolute deterministic control. It's just sitting there waiting for your exact specifications. So the only question left for you is, are you ready to take the helm and bound the autonomy? Happy operating, everyone. See you next time.